Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back and spending some time with me. It is very nice to have this chat with you. And if you are a new viewer, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I hope that you will stay and check out what we have to offer here and be a part of this very, very tiny, but I hope growing community on this channel, Knit with Madeline. If you are like, who are you? What are you doing? Go ahead and watch just at least the beginning of my first YouTube video, the first knitting podcast. I'll have it linked up here and down there and wherever you find links on YouTube, or my knitting Instagram, my Knitstagram, which is, you guessed it, Knit with Madeline. So thanks for being here, and let's just get right into the video. So in my first video, I talked about what's to come, and something that I really wanted to do, both for myself and I think for my viewers, it'd be kind of fun, is to talk about knitting plans for 2022. And I know that I've been kind of following the discourse of this on YouTube, and I have seen two camps of people who love to plan what they're going to be knitting in the upcoming year, and another group of people who find it very restrictive and not very helpful for their creative mojo. And so they just kind of either buy yarn intentionally with a project in mind, or they buy yarn, they stash it, and whenever they find a project that tickles their fancy, they go ahead and do it. So I think I'm in the middle. My only problem is that, and it's not a problem, it's just a fact of life for me, is that I'm horribly indecisive. Horribly. Like, sometimes it's paralyzing. Like, I'm being hyperbolic, but I can't make a decision, and then I'll spend so much time on making the decision that if I had just picked one thing and done it, I would have made such progress in the project. And that's with every facet of life. So I'm working on that personally. And so I figured having sort of a game plan for 2022 would be a great way to target that issue. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the garments that I'll be interested in making in 2022. I'll talk about sort of how I'm approaching this guideline, if it's a hard and fast rule, or if it's just kind of a guiding light, if you will. I will be making another one of these videos about accessories, because I recently knitted the Lalu shawl by Sari Nordland, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. And in my first podcast, I talked about the first shawl I ever made was a Stephen West mystery knit-along shawl. So I am interested in knitting more accessories, but to kind of, in the interest of time for these videos, keeping them shorter, little mini-sodes, I'm going to talk about them separately, and I think they're kind of two of their own separate beasts, so it might actually be good. So I have in my handy dandy knitting journal, I wrote down some of my knitting goals. I also have a template for how I want to keep my notes. I know it's probably backwards, but template and then 2022 knitting goals. So I thought I would just talk through them very quickly, and then we'll go ahead and hop into kind of a clear list. So I'll explain these goals and then talk about how they inform the list of projects I want to make. So the first and major goal is building a cold weather wardrobe. As I talked about in my first episode of the podcast, I'm from the desert, and I'm from a hot desert that doesn't get very cold. I don't have any clothing for the winter, and that's a big problem now that I live right now in Europe and most of the time in the Midwest of America. And so what does building a cold weather wardrobe look like? Well, first of all, I also love sweaters. I got rid of a lot of my sweaters. This one I thrifted in high school, and I just can't bring myself to get rid of it. But a lot of the sweaters that I accumulated in high school, obviously I bought them. I liked them very much, but they just kind of over time got weeded out of the pack. And so I want to rebuild nice, beautiful, well-made, good material sweaters that I can keep for like at least a decade. Cardigans, I love cardigans. I love to layer. I don't love to show my arms for a plethora of reasons. So anything that I can put over, number one, like a light cardigan, like in the spring, maybe summer nights would be great. And then cardigans for when it's starting to get cold, and also when it is cold to wear under maybe a larger sweater or a jacket. I'd like to knit more shawls and kerchiefs, but we're not talking about that in this video. And also a balaclava. We're not talking about this in this video, I will just briefly say, not just for all the hype, I hate wearing hats. I like a babushka moment. We'll leave it at that and pick it up in another video. The second goal related to building this cold weather wardrobe is building a professional / nice wardrobe. Ever since my second year of college, I just started dressing like a bum, like all the time. And there's really nothing wrong with that. And I don't mind it. But I find that when I get dressed, I'm wearing nice clothing, I'm in sort of a better headspace, and I get more done and I feel better about myself. And as I'm getting older, moving through my PhD program, I am a young professional and I have no clothing that speaks to that. And I think knitwear does a really good job at getting you there. So if I can make my hobby, a woman is walking by and she has incredible glasses frames. They're like incredible. Dang. So that's a big goal of mine with knitwear. So what does that look like? I'm thinking like classic cuts, something that other people on YouTube say, timeless pieces is what I'm going for. Neutral colors and just staple pieces. Neutral to me might be different for other people. I like sort of like olive greens, like the khaki green. I like very light pinks, like salmon, like kind of bordering between like a cream and a pink. I like that. I'm experimenting with grays. I've never seen myself in gray, really. Black for sure, white for sure, no. Yeah, lighter colors are hard for me to pull off, and that's why I'm uncertain about an oatmeal or a cream. I don't know. So we'll see if I ever get around to that. But yes, so my neutrals are kind of like autumnal neutrals, like cinnamons, burnt oranges, those kinds of mustard. Don't ask me why. A third goal is a penultimate goal, building a sock collection and also nice PJs. I'm notorious with socks. I don't have them frequently, don't know where they are. And I think if I had nice socks that actually did a great job at being socks and that I made, I would actually have socks. So I would like to knit as many socks as I can in between my larger projects to build that collection. I also sleep, again, in whatever I can find. And when I sleep in like actual pajamas, I wake up and I feel great about myself. So I really want to knit like a set from Jessie Mae. That's what I have my mind on now. But maybe somebody else will come along the way and design something, or I'll find something. But I want to knit something nice in like a linen or a silk or something like that to wear while I'm sleeping. And then fourth and final goal, of course, try new things. So I wrote underneath this brioche ? Color work ? At least one fun, colorful thing, which I think is important to me. It's sort of not shy away from colors and color stories after the Stephen West shawl, and also try designers from all over the world. I don't really want to only be knitting US-based designers or Europe-based designers, or perhaps they're based in Europe, but I just want to try designs from people who come from all over the world. I want a diverse pattern library, essentially is what I'm saying. And so those are my guidelines. Those are what is important for me to follow as I'm thinking about things to knit. This next part of the video, where I'll be showing you some specific projects that interest me. Some of them I know for a fact I'm gonna knit, and those I will consider my make 9, so to speak, because they will be being made. And then some other things are just some ideas for myself to kind of see them together, and this is like a moving vision board, if you will, to sort of understand what those guidelines look like when they are made tangible. Actual projects that satisfy those guidelines. That way, when I'm finishing projects, I'm doing things, I'm like, oh my god, what to cast on next? I don't have that decision paralysis, and I can say, okay, I know that I want to build this goal. I want professional wear. Okay, an example of that would be this sweater. I need a sweater for the cold. All right, 2 goals out of 1, and it has something new, and it's from a designer from Japan. Sick. Knit it up. So yes, so I hope that this video gives you some inspiration, maybe helps you think about how you want your knitting to look like at the end of the year. And we'll hop right into this next part of the video. Okay, everyone, I am back. I'm sorry the lighting has changed. I've been compiling my list. There's a few things in it. In the interest of time, we're going to go through it really quickly. Everything will be linked. And again, just to summarize, I don't think I'll be able to make all of these things, and there'll be a second video with accessories, so I really don't think I'll be able to make all of these things. I will indicate to you the things that I will definitely be making, but let's just get right into it. So one of the ways that I tried to compile this list was looking at knitwear designers whose patterns I know that I want to knit. So there's a man coming into the building and he's like going really slowly, and I just don't want him to look at me. So I think I'm gonna talk about the list based off of that. And one thing that became very evident to me while I was making this list is that I only know a few knitwear designers and their patterns, and so it made my list kind of limited. So I'm adding another goal of mine to the year, which is finding a more diverse set of designers who design in different styles. And something you'll notice is markedly missing from this list is any color work. So that's something that I would be interested in adding to it. I have my computer here. I use Notion, and I have a whole little knitting page, which I can talk about sometime in the future. So to begin, let's talk about my favorite things knitwear, because I feel like any knitter, oh, that's me. Any knitter who is new to knitting or has been on the scene for a while has knit some of their patterns. So there are a few that I'd like to talk about. The first is sweater number 8, which is a beautiful, what looks to me to be drop-shouldered, ribbed sweater. I would love to make this. I love the way the construction looks in the photos. The only thing that makes me uncertain is I'm knitting an all-over rib sweater now, so I don't know how much need I will have, but that's definitely something I would be interested in knitting. I didn't put the kind of yarn, but it looks like maybe like worsted or Aran. I don't know. Hopefully my lack of knowledge isn't showing right now. Another one is cardigan number 4, which I feel like I'm 90% certain that I'll be knitting this. The one thing that's kind of pushing me away from it is that it's all mohair, but I would like to have sort of a lighter sweater. And I love the fisherman's rib in the mohair and how it's open, and the fit looks lovely. And it is knit obviously in all mohair, and yeah, it just looks beautiful. So speaking of number 4, with my favorite things knitwear, I will 100% be knitting camisole number 4, which is knitted, I believe, out of silk, but I think any sort of lighter summery fabric would do, like a cotton or a linen if you get gauge, obviously. And I love the construction of this garment. I don't have anything like it. I think wearing it in the summer with like a light linen shirt over it, or a very light cardigan or something of that nature would be perfect. I think it's beautiful. Laid back but still put together, which is exactly what I'm going for. And then finally is sweater number 15. So I think I will knit this. I'm more likely to knit this than sweater number 8 because I recently knit a shawl that used cables and I love them and I think they're beautiful. And a theme that you'll see here is this is sort of the year of textured knits for me, unless I find a way to incorporate color work. It seems that I'm really going for texture. I love the way that looks. So sweater number 15 would satisfy that. And it's knit, I believe, it says lace plus lace, and that comes together to be fingering or DK. But it looks to me that it's a fingering weight yarn and a mohair held together. And it's just beautiful. And I think you could really focus on choosing like a wonderful sort of staple color. And I think a sweater like that would be a great staple piece to any wardrobe, specifically mine. I think I can make it warm, and I also think it's very professional looking, so it ticks off those boxes. And I've never knit a cable sweater, so something new. Moving to, speaking of, let's stay on the cabled sweater sort of theme here. I found this sweater a while ago. It's called the Anton sweater by Yuko Shimizu. Not certain on the pronunciation. It's knit in a sport weight yarn, and I'm including a photo from Ravelry of someone, a project photo from someone who knitted it, not the designer, because the designer knitted it in black. And while I really like that, actually, when consider doing it, you can't really see all of the cables and the patterns. What drew me to this sweater is I love the cut of it. I love the kind of soft V. I love like the asymmetry and the longer arms. I just love this sweater. So this is another one that I will definitely be making. I think it'll be a good staple piece also to wear over shirts like in this photo here. And again, I think you could really play with the color that you're choosing, and I love that mustard. What a good choice. Another one-off designer that I have in here is Jacqueline Cieslak, one of those, and it is the Ursa sweater. It's knit in a bulky weight yarn, which I know I've said in the past I'm trying to move away from, but I think there's a time and a place for a bulky weight yarn. I love the design of this sweater. There's really nothing more to be said. I love it how it's cropped. I love the V ribbing in the front. I like the pronounced raglan. It's just, I love the color that the designer knitted it in. It's just beautiful. I like how the seam goes under the arm. I think that it'd be lovely to wear over a dress or with a skirt, something just to throw on. And I will definitely be making this pattern. It's on my definite list. And then let's talk about, who next? Let's talk about Jessie Mae. I want to knit more of Jessie Mae patterns. I'm currently knitting the Ripple bralette, and because I'm always wearing sports bras, and I want to move away from that. I want to be nicer, more refined, and I think they could also double as like a crop top in the summer. I have very high-waisted skirts, so I think it would work. So I also want to knit the Secret Summer crop, which is knit in a fingering weight. Heather and Hops talks about this pattern a lot. It's just very basic, something you can put on underneath. Also underneath maybe a more see-through knitwear piece. And it just looks to be beautiful and would be a great staple piece, as well as learning some new ways of constructing a garment. I also really want to do the whole PJ thing. I think it's important to me and I want to do it. So I will be on my definite list, and hopefully I can get around to it, are the So Summer shorts. I just like how basic they are and how they have that kind of flowy bottom. I was drawn to the Ripple shorts, but I think I can, obviously I'm not going to have a ripple, like as a ripple is understood, but I think I get a similar effect with these shorts in a way that I think will be more fitting to what I'm looking for. I'm looking for just really basic, and if I enjoy knitting the shorts, then I think I will definitely do one of her other ones. I'm really drawn to the outline shorts because I love the outline tee, and I think they'd be so cute together. But again, the Ripple shorts are so cute, so I think I'll start with these and then go from there. And to wear with those shorts, there is a Secret Summer crop top that's just like a basic crop top that pairs with it, but I think I would want to make in a matching yarn. Both of these shorts and this shirt are fingering weight, the open edge tee, because I love that sort of design. It's very simple. I think it would go perfectly with those shorts. So that is how I plan on tackling my PJ mission. And then finally, we should talk about, I have one more thing from Jessie Mae. It's the Ripple crop top. Again, I think it's just a wonderful staple piece. My issue with crop tops is the sleeves are never as long as I want them to be, because I want them to come to like here almost always. And I think this design doesn't have sleeves that go that long, but I think it'd be very easy just to add a couple of extra inches. I love how simple it is. I love the way that it fits on people that have posted it on Ravelry project pages and the test knit pictures that Jessie Mae has included. I believe it's knit in a fingering weight, but there's also a worsted version, so I don't know which I will do. Maybe the fingering, just so that it's more appropriate for summer wear. But I wear a lot of skirts, a lot of high-waisted skirts. I mainly wear high-waisted pants, and I think that this would just be an incredible staple piece to have. And I know it's all over ribbing, and I don't know what's wrong with me these days, but yeah, I'm drawn to the texture. I think you could do a really beautiful color. You could even do like an indie dyed speckle, and I just think there's nothing more to be said. So moving along, I'm trying to do this quickly because it's getting a bit later in the day and I want this to be a shorter episode or video episode. Who do I think I am? A Petite Knit. So I've heard mixed things about Petite Knit patterns. I just think they're so simple and beautiful. I was really drawn to the Jenny collection because I knit something in that exact pattern, those golf club covers with those V's that are held together by like you bring the yarn around and cinch and it creates this beautiful pattern. I have a lot of sweaters on here, and so I didn't want to put too many that I looked like crazy, like a girl. There's no way you could ever do it. But to substitute out one of the sweaters I've mentioned, if I really want to go for that like very textured look, I would do that. I would substitute that one in. And I don't know if I would do the cardigan or the sweater. Cardigans kind of scare me because I want to knit them in the round, and I know I can with steeking, but that kind of scares me. And so perhaps if I knit a cardigan and I feel confident that I can steek or, modify it in some way to make it possible to knit in the round, I think that I would pursue the Jenny cardigan. But one thing I put on my list, and I want to say that I will absolutely make this, but it looks kind of like a monstrous project in that it's large and it's knit. It's not a bulky weight, but it's the zipper jacket. I love the way this fits. I love how slouchy it is, how long it is. I love that you can zip it up in the front so it's covered, because I always tend to pull my cardigans like over, like I don't know if that makes sense, so that it closes, like the ones I have without buttons, which are basically all of them. But I think that this would be just such a classic, simple, stable piece. It has pockets, which is great. The sleeves look very small because it's like a pretty severe drop shoulder, it appears to me. I love the idea of putting a zipper into something, and once I do this, maybe I'll knit the zipper sweater at some point, which I love the collar on. And I just want those simple, staple, I almost said statement, which is the opposite of simple, knitwear pieces. And so I think I want to say that I will definitely knit that, because I think it would get a lot of use in my wardrobe, at home, going out. And then the final thing I wanted to mention, that I'm not certain if I'll get around to it this year. Like I said, since I'm new to knitting, I don't really know my pace. I'm pretty busy, or at least I should be most of the time, so I don't know how much time I'll actually have. But if I had the time, and if I do have the time, I would love to knit the Chilling Out sweater by Irene Lynn. It's knit in a bulky weight. I love the fit of it. I love the simple texture. It reminds me of the Aosta in that way. I love the contrasting collar and cuffs with the main color, one stripe of the main color through it. I just think it's very well thought out. It has the split hem. It's like everything I did to the Aosta minus the V-neck. And I think I love a V-neck. And I think if it's a slouchy V-neck, it could be such a cute casual. So it doesn't tick my professional, but it does tick my cold weather and something new. I've never done a V-neck. So I think that covers, yep. I have something in here that's a garment that I really want to talk, or not a garment, excuse me, an accessory that I really want to talk about, because I know I'm knitting it, and I'm knitting it for my mom, and it will be done in the summertime. But I'm going to save that for another day. So that's my list. If you know any knitwear designers that you think that I should check out in the way of diverse backgrounds, or also in the way of color work or cardigans, anything like that, I would love your recommendations in the comments below. By no means is this a final or permanent or strict list. It's simply a way to sort of materialize the goals that I talked about in the beginning of this video. I lost my train of thoughts. There was something else I wanted to say. Besides the things that I mentioned that I will definitely be knitting, all of these things can be substituted out with something different. And the last thing I want to say is I feel as if I'm like obligated to knit a ranunculus, you know what I mean? And I don't know if I want to. So if you can persuade me to knit a ranunculus, I would love to be persuaded. So again, thanks for staying with me. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found some inspiration, maybe some new designs. Probably not, since a lot of them are just like the most popular designs that can be found and that everyone has probably knit already. But I'm looking forward to hopefully doing these videos in the future and seeing how my taste and the knitwear designers I gravitate toward change over time. So I think that'll be really fun to track. And thanks for joining me in doing that. I hope you have a lovely day and that you come back to the channel and check out some of the future videos coming. I have a knitting vlog actually coming up about a test knit experience. And if you're interested in that, or adding another knitting podcast to the many, many, many out there that I'm sure you all watch, please feel free to subscribe, like or dislike the video, whatever you want to do. Leave me a comment, that'd be great. And yep, I hope you have a great day. Bye.